Hello, everyone. We're here with Cooking with Grandma Tanner, and our winner of the recipe contest that we did. They're going to be making apple blossom rolls. This is Candy's recipe, and so she was kind enough to share it and kind enough to come and film with Grandma Tanner. So you two can take it away.
Okay, Candy, I'm going to let you tell about your recipe here. She's got some made that she made ahead of time, and they look wonderful.
Well, usually with this kind of recipe where you're making a filling, make it overnight and let it set up in the fridge is the best way. That way it doesn't run out of whatever pastry you're going to stuff it into. So what we did was took 2 Jonah Gold apples, peeled them and diced them, and then you prepare, you cook those off for a few minutes in butter, and then you start adding your sugars and your seasonings, some vanilla. What really makes it taste holiday-ish is the cinnamon and nutmeg, and even punched up with a little bit of allspice. Really to taste, if you decide you want it lighter or stronger, you can adjust that yourself. But so we went ahead and did that, and it's all set up for us.
That's actually 2 batches because Grandma and I did it yesterday, and you did it too.
Yes.
So yeah, so that when you make them,
really nice and thick.
when you make them, you won't have quite that much filling.
Right. Yeah, don't be alarmed. Yours is going to be smaller than that. And so then for our pastry, to simplify things, we just went with prepared puff pastry that you could buy at any local grocery store, usually in the cooler section where butter and biscuits and stuff are. And it comes in a big long sheet. A couple tips for that. It surprised me how much it moves around when you go to roll it out. So the easiest thing I found was to cut it into even 4s, and you give it a quick roll with a rolling pin, and you'll end up with squares they should look like an egg roll wrapper, about the size of that. So
About 7 by 7 or 6
Yeah.
by 6, something like that.
yes.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll go ahead and let's see. Should I roll it out? Just dump it on here, right?
Yeah.
So you put a little bit of flour down so that it doesn't stick, because it does get a little bit thin. And like I said, I had pre-cut these to make it easier, but I'm going to put it here and give it a quick roll just to make sure it didn't shrink down too much. If I can get it off the paper. These are just separated with sheets of wax paper. And it was easier to roll out and work on than if I kept it cold and kept it wrapped up. So whatever I wasn't using at the time, I just put some wax paper back down over top of it. And that, oh no, that's not supposed to happen. It's going to want to stick. So it's pretty easy once it's cut. And like I said, I already pretty much had it to size to help with time.
It's been out of the fridge for a little bit.
And it's been out of the fridge for a bit. But really, you just want to make sure that you have enough room to get a little bit of filling in there. So now that we have that, then one of the things my grandma taught me when baking anything that has like syrups or a sauce to it, if you just take a little bit of powdered sugar and kind of give it a quick sprinkle.
It's powdered sugar, not salt.
Not salt. Not salt. And it helps the pastry not get like too soggy instead of using extra flour or extra cornstarch, which could make it get too stiff, is my understanding. Okay, so then once you've done that, what you can do is, I use a slotted spoon for this so that I don't get too much liquid in there. Because as you can see, this has a lot of syrup left to it, which I usually keep back and can use it for oatmeal or ice cream or
Oh, I
Whatever
bet
you
that
like to
is
put your
delicious.
Tanner's apples on top of, it'd be good for.
Try that in oatmeal. That's my favorite breakfast.
Oh yeah. I might have gotten too much syrup in there. So then, no. Okay. Now I've done it. You want to take this until it covers about half of that. And then you've got about 1/4 of an inch here. Kind of take that down. Just fold it like that. And don't be afraid to like press it in there. And then this is just 1 egg mixed with 2 tablespoons of water. It creates an egg wash. And it kind of acts like a glue for pastry without drying the pastry out or making it too gummy. And so then I'm going to push these up in there as best I can and just gently start rolling it. And you'll see when we get to the end here
Such a nice holiday.
it looks like an egg roll. And apple blossoms were one of my favorite things to make with my grandma because it always smelled like holiday. And I think she trusted me a little bit more to make those than the stuff that she wanted to look really fancy. But a lot of fun to do. And so then we just take it, and this is the sheet we're going to put in the oven. And just brush a little bit on that, like where that seam is, and around the sides.
Now the recipe says that you can deep fry it or oven, but I think oven is almost better.
I do too. It tastes better coming out of the oven, the pastry does, because it has more room, more time to rise in there. If you put it in the deep fryer, it's going to cook it really fast, and it has a tendency to get dark on the outside and not quite as done in the middle as you want. So there will be frying instructions on there, but I tend to make them.
Yeah, well, it's probably a little healthier.
It is.
Okay, so you're going to make a couple more?
Yeah, I'm going to make a couple more.
And the filling was really easy to make yesterday when we were doing it.
Yeah, it's just like a little like a 1/4 inch kind of dice on the apple, and I'm forgetting my own steps. Good thing you're here. We have a weird pastry. Okay.
We use a lot of this puff pastry in our bakery to make our strudels. We have apple and cherry strudel in our bakery, and it is really a nice holiday treat or for breakfast to make.
That is the great thing with puff pastry. You can take this once it's all ready. You could put these in a freezer bag and freeze them, and then make them up a couple days later. So if you have company coming, maybe make a little at a time and freeze them, and they'll be ready for your holiday.
So when I was eating that, you guys weren't looking, I was sampling that filling.
Oh, you were?
Yeah.
She always gets ahead of us, I'll tell you.
It was really good. It reminded me of almost an apple dumpling.
Yes.
With I think it'd be really good on ice cream.
Oh, yeah.
Not that I've done it, but it might be.
You could probably make a double batch of this.
Yes.
And save it for the holidays. It would be good in the fridge, and then a topping. Maybe we ought to take this for Thanksgiving, Jenny.
No, I was gonna make some corn relish dip.
Okay.
It's easy.
I tried some on Tanner's has all these wonderful dip products where you pick it up and you just mix it with it's generally cream cheese and sour cream, and there's one that's an apple, pecan, and honey.
Mm-hmm.
And I took that, made the dip portion of it, and then added extra ingredients that you would add for making a cheesecake.
Oh yeah.
And I baked those off in a muffin tin and put some of the apples with that. It was delicious too. So I think you could make a decent cheesecake.
Oh yeah, that'd really be good. These are so cute.
Have you tried putting like frosting on top?
I haven't done frosting. I made an apple cider caramel sauce to dip in them, and then I'm probably putting it on my ice cream and oatmeal too. But when you reduce apple cider down, it has it creates I guess like a syrup, like a concentrated apple syrup. But it has all of Tanner's amazing spice blend that they use in their cider in it.
There's no spice blend in the cider.
There's not.
No, there's nothing added to it.
Nothing. Well, whatever their flavor is, it's working. And it holds up very well to reducing it down to turn it into syrups and sauces.
I do apple cider turkey. You you reduce apple cider and maple syrup and put it on your turkey to bake.
Oh yeah, that's good too.
Yeah, I've put apples down in the roaster before on Thanksgiving, but I never thought to try cider. It would probably help it really like brown up too.
And the cider tenderizes also.
Oh.
I'll let you put it
Okay. I got
So
this.
about how much are you putting in there?
It's about 1 to 2 tablespoons. Sometimes the wrappers aren't, they're not going to hold their exact size.
Mm-hmm.
So just enough that I know I can fold it over and it's not going to come running out too fast on me. There are some recipes for similar things online where they used actual like egg roll wrappers. I had a little bit of trouble doing that, and then trying the frying method, it got really like gummy and then tough to chew.
Okay.
So. Alright. So.
All right, and then you just bake them, huh?
Yes. And
Got one more?
the syrup or the caramel sauce that I made with the cider, Tanner sells a really great caramel syrup of their own that's good on everything. So when these come out, we'll probably just have to try a little on top.
Yes. The recipe there is a recipe in there for the
Dip.
caramel sauce, the dipping sauce. Yes.
It was very easy to make. My both grandmothers, did a great job of trying to include us in the kitchen, and I was a little bit of a indoor kid, and so I probably got the most time with both of them, and I'm not as afraid to try things, but making a syrup or sauce on your own might sound intimidating, and it's actually very easy.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of it just comes down to getting your fat or your oil, your starches, which would be your flours and stuff, or your and then the temperature to cook it at. Keep stirring, add more. But it took maybe about 20 minutes to make the syrup.
Well, once you have this filling made,
It helps.
and your sauce, your caramel sauce, why, it'd be easy to make all that up.
Yes. The dipping sauce, it stays pretty good for about a couple weeks. when you pull it out, you can just, put it in the microwave, or you always, with something that sugary, if you're microwaving it to warm it up, it's like 30 seconds at a time, just so the sugar doesn't all
Harden.
harden on you. Okay, so that's what they look like
Before they go in the oven.
before they go in, and seam
And you
side
bake them
down.
at
375. It usually ends up being about 25 minutes, and then within 5 minutes of them being done, pulled them out and sprinkled a little bit of sugar on them or cinnamon on them, and put them back in if you want, but just you want them to be about this color of golden brown.
So here's the finished product. And they do look like little egg rolls.
Ta-da!
that puff pastry is so good.
And yeah,
It's real crispy. I mean, it's real airy.
it is delicious, and it looks really impressive to other people. So you don't have to do a lot of the dough work on your own. It's a little bit to stretch it out and cut it, but once you get going, just make a stack of wrappers and then you can go to town.
Yeah, and you cut it with a pizza cutter.
Yes, I did cut it with a pizza cutter too.
Yeah,
So
so that works out good.
it's pretty easy to handle.
So that's the apple blossom rolls.
Yes,
It's a mouthful.
it is.
And they look like they're a mouthful to eat too. And I can attest that the apple filling is delicious. And I will definitely be getting one of those when they come out of the oven.
Yes.
So thank you, Candy, for your recipe. And we will be
Thanks for having me.
posting it on Facebook here. I didn't get it written up, so I gotta go do that.
Okay.
So, thank you everybody for watching. Next week we will not be on. We'll be at Thanksgiving, so this might be the last one for the season, or we might do something in December. We haven't decided yet, but remember, we're only open, I think we got 7 more shopping days. November 30th will be our last day, and we are closed on Sundays. Thank you.